Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive.
Hey.
Today we're going to be talking about smart construction.
Yeah.
We got some cool articles to dig into.
Mm.
One in particular from MBN Channel Business Magazine Daily News about, all the tech trends.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating area.
It is.
Because it really touches all of us.
Yeah.
The places that we live,
Yeah.
the places we work,
Right.
the places we go for entertainment, they're all built.
Right.
And this is all about how that process is changing.
So it's not just about the flashy tech, it's about solving the fundamental problems
Exactly.
of the industry.
Yeah, historically, the construction industry has struggled with delays, with cost overruns, and with safety risks.
Right.
So smart construction is about leveraging AI and the Internet of Things to streamline processes,
Right.
improve efficiency, and boost safety.
Yeah, this MBN Channel Business article mentions that global construction is expected to hit $15 trillion by 2030.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's a lot of building.
And a lot of that is fueled by this whole smart construction trend.
This Construction 4.0.
Precisely, yeah, Construction 4.0. That's the industry's digital transformation.
Right.
It's integrating AI, the Internet of Things, big data, into every single stage of a project.
How does that actually work, though?
Oh, well, it's
Amazing.
Practice.
Yeah. So, for example, the Dubai Creek Tower.
Okay.
This is one of the most ambitious construction projects in the world right now.
Huge.
They're using something called BIM building information modeling.
Okay.
This is basically like a supercharged 3D model of the whole structure.
Oh, wow.
And then they're linking that to a digital twin, which is a virtual replica of the physical tower.
Okay.
And that can be used to simulate all kinds of different scenarios and monitor the construction process in real time.
So before they even put a single brick down,
Exactly.
they're testing it.
It's like a virtual copy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So what about the day-to-day work?
Well, that's where it gets really cool.
Instead of relying on manual measurements or paper blueprints,
Right.
you might be using augmented reality glasses to overlay the digital plans
Oh.
right onto the physical site.
Oh, wow.
And instead of hauling heavy materials by hand,
Right.
they might be using robots or drones for lifting and transportation.
That's a whole different job.
It is.
So these robots aren't replacing workers.
Right.
It's enhancing.
It's enhancing their capabilities, making their jobs safer.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what about AI?
AI.
I feel like that's the brain.
It's having a huge impact.
Yeah.
Everything from design and planning to risk management to execution.
Oh, wow.
AI-powered software.
Yeah.
It can analyze these massive data sets of past projects and recommend the most efficient layouts, the best materials to use,
Right.
even predict potential problems.
Before they happen.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's like having this team of virtual experts
Right.
constantly analyzing and optimizing the project.
So how would that work, in practice?
Sure, let's say you're building a bridge.
Okay.
AI can analyze historical weather data, traffic patterns,
Mm-hmm.
even geological conditions to help engineers design it.
Yeah.
Figure out the best materials to use.
Yeah.
It can also simulate all these different scenarios like earthquakes, strong winds, to make sure that the bridge can withstand it.
That's amazing.
And then during the construction process itself, AI can monitor sensors
Okay.
that are embedded in the structure
Gotcha.
to detect any anomalies or potential issues.
Wow. It's like a constant safety check.
It is.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we talked about AI, but we also hear a lot about the Internet of Things.
The Internet of
From the
Things.
sensors?
Yeah. It's all about creating a network of interconnected devices that can collect and share data.
Okay.
So on a construction site,
Yeah.
you might have sensors embedded in the concrete to monitor its curing process.
Interesting.
Or you might have cameras that are tracking the movement of materials and equipment. And all this data gets fed into a central system, so managers have a real-time view of what's happening.
It's like a live feed
It is.
of the entire construction site.
Exactly.
How do you even make sense of all that, though?
Well, that's where data analytics comes in.
Okay.
AI-powered software
Yeah.
can sift through all that data,
Right.
identify patterns, trends, and potential problems.
Okay.
So, for example, it can track the progress of different tasks,
Right.
flag any delays, and even predict potential safety hazards
Based on the data.
based on worker behavior, environmental conditions, all sorts of things.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So this is all super sophisticated, but what does this mean for, the people
That's a great question.
working on these projects?
Yeah, a lot of people wonder, are they being replaced by robots?
Right. Are they going to lose their jobs?
Right. But what we're seeing is that smart construction is about empowering workers,
Okay.
with better tools and information.
So their jobs are changing.
Exactly.
They're not being like,
It's not elimination.
yeah.
It's transformation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So they need new skills
Exactly.
to do this new job.
And that's why there's such a growing emphasis on training and upskilling in the industry.
So is this actually saving money?
Yes, it is.
Like, it's one thing to talk about it,
Right.
but are we seeing like...
Yeah, so studies have shown that AI alone
Okay.
can boost construction project productivity by 14 to 15%
Wow.
and cut costs by 4 to 6%.
That's huge.
It is.
What about the environment?
Oh, the environmental impact is huge.
And construction is a major...
It's a major polluter.
Yeah.
So smart construction can play a really big role in reducing that.
How so?
By optimizing material usage,
Right.
minimizing waste, we can lower those carbon emissions.
Okay.
And then using these tools like BIM and digital twins to simulate different design options.
Right.
We can choose the most sustainable solutions.
So it's not just about building
Right.
like quickly and efficiently.
It's about building in a way that is mindful of the planet.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about the technology, the numbers,
Yeah.
but how does this translate to benefits for people?
Yeah, that's the key question.
Yeah.
How does it impact the buildings that we live in,
Right.
we work in, we spend time in?
It's one thing to build efficiently,
Right.
but if it's like a terrible building.
Exactly.
Sorry.
We'll be exploring that in more detail later on.
Okay.
But let's just say that smart construction has the potential to create buildings that are not only more efficient,
Right.
more sustainable,
Okay.
but also safer,
Yeah.
more comfortable, and more responsive to our needs.
So stay tuned because we're going to be talking about that
We are.
in the next part of this deep dive
Yes.
into smart construction.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.
Right after this. Welcome back to our deep dive into smart construction.
Where we're exploring how technology is not just changing the way we build, but also the buildings themselves.
Exactly. We left off talking about how smart construction is making things more efficient and sustainable. Right.
But there's another really important aspect to all of this, the human element.
Right. Even with all this amazing tech,
Yeah,
it's still people
it is.
building these things.
Absolutely. Construction is about people.
So how is all this technology changing the role of the workers?
So that's where things get really interesting, because as construction becomes smarter,
Right.
the jobs themselves are evolving too.
Okay.
We're seeing a shift from purely manual labor
Right.
to more specialized tech-driven roles.
So are construction workers going to trade in their hammers for
Yeah.
tablets and drones?
In a way, yes, instead of just laying bricks,
Right.
they might be operating 3D printing robots,
Wow.
analyzing data from sensors, or even piloting drones to survey sites.
So are robots just going to take over construction jobs then?
That's a question a lot of people have.
Yeah.
But it's not about robots replacing humans.
Okay.
It's about them working together.
Oh, okay.
It's a partnership
Okay.
where each side brings their strength.
So humans bring the creativity, the problem solving,
Yeah,
and robots do the precision, the repetitive tasks?
exactly. And this collaboration can actually help address the labor shortages that the industry has been facing,
Oh, interesting.
by making construction jobs more tech-driven,
Right.
more appealing to a younger generation.
Right.
We can attract new talent.
So we're building a smarter workforce,
Absolutely.
not just smarter buildings.
Yeah, and this shift towards human-robot collaboration can also make construction sites safer.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I mean, construction's a dangerous job.
it is inherently dangerous.
Yeah.
But imagine a construction site where AI-powered systems are constantly monitoring,
Oh,
potential hazards,
right.
like unstable scaffolding or workers not wearing the proper gear,
Wow.
can be identified and addressed right away.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we could also use robotics for tasks that are really dangerous for humans,
Right.
like working at extreme heights or handling hazardous materials.
So it's like a virtual safety net. Exactly. For the whole construction process.
That's a great way to put it.
So how does all this translate to benefits for the people who are going to live and work in these buildings?
Right. So it's not just about the process. It's about creating safer, more resilient structures.
Okay.
Think of buildings that can detect structural issues before they become huge problems.
Right.
Or buildings that can respond automatically to emergencies.
Like a fire or an earthquake.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
But doesn't all this technology make construction super expensive?
And that's a fair point.
Yeah.
And while there is that perception that this is only for these huge budget projects,
Right.
a lot of these technologies can be scaled down
Okay.
to smaller projects,
Right.
homes, community centers. And as they become more widely adopted,
Yeah.
the costs will come down.
Right, like any new technology.
Exactly.
It starts off expensive and then...
It becomes more accessible.
So we've talked about all this data,
Yeah.
all this analysis,
Mm.
but what about privacy and security?
That's a crucial consideration. With all this data flowing around, we need to be mindful.
Right.
The industry needs to prioritize cybersecurity
Okay.
to protect that sensitive information.
Are there steps being taken to kind of address that?
Yes, there is a growing awareness
Okay.
of the ethical implications.
Okay.
Companies are investing in cybersecurity,
Good.
and there's a push for clear regulations and standards to govern how this data is used.
So it's not just about building smart, it's about building ethically.
Absolutely. It's about building trust and transparency.
Yeah, because some people are worried about their jobs with
Yeah.
all this new technology.
Right, and that's a legitimate concern.
Yeah.
While some tasks may become automated,
Right.
smart construction is also creating new jobs
Okay.
that require different skills.
So it's not just displacement, it's transformation.
It is. It's about preparing the workforce for the future.
So how do we do that?
Well, it requires a collaborative effort,
Okay.
between the educational institutions and governments
Right.
to provide training and upskilling opportunities.
So it's about like investing in the human capital
Yeah.
that's going to power the future of all this.
Yes.
So how do we make sure that this isn't just about building like bigger, fancier buildings,
Yeah.
but about creating better communities for everyone?
That is a critical question. And smart construction has the potential
Okay.
to create more equitable and accessible built environments.
In what way?
Well, imagine using technology to design buildings that are universally accessible to people with disabilities,
Okay.
or to create affordable housing solutions
Right.
for growing urban populations.
So it's about like a much more inclusive approach
It is.
to construction.
Yes, it's about using technology to benefit everyone.
So are there like real world examples of this?
Absolutely. We're seeing innovations all around the world.
Like what?
Well, in some cities, they're embedding smart sensors in roads and sidewalks
Okay.
to monitor traffic flow, pedestrian movement.
Interesting.
And this data can be used for better urban planning,
Okay.
safer streets.
That's cool.
And then in some developing countries,
Yeah.
3D printing is being used to create affordable and sustainable housing
Oh, wow.
for people in need.
That's amazing. So it's not all just like theory.
It's happening now.
It's happening now.
Yes.
Okay.
And there are challenges.
Right.
We'll be exploring those in the final part of our deep dive
Okay.
and looking ahead at what the future holds for this rapidly evolving industry.
Welcome back to our deep dive, everyone.
Glad to be here.
So we're in the final act of our smart construction deep dive,
That's right.
looking to the future.
Yeah, looking ahead.
What's coming down the pipeline?
And the exciting thing is that the future isn't some far-off thing.
Right.
It's happening now,
Yeah.
driven by this incredible wave of innovation.
So what trends and innovations are we seeing like on the horizon?
So one trend that's really gaining momentum is prefabrication
Okay.
and modular construction.
So instead of like building everything on site,
Exactly.
you're making it in a factory.
Yeah, we're talking about manufacturing components off-site
Right.
in a factory environment
Okay.
and then assembling them on-site.
Like a giant Lego set.
It's like a giant Lego set for buildings.
So what are the advantages of that?
Oh, tons of advantages.
Wow.
First of all, you get greater precision,
Okay.
efficiency, quality control, because you're working in a factory setting.
Right.
You've got all this advanced robotics and automation.
Makes sense.
You reduce waste. You minimize disruption on the site,
Okay.
and you can really shorten those construction timelines.
So how does this connect with like 3D printing and robotics?
That's a great question, because prefabrication and modular construction are being fueled
Okay.
by advancements in those very technologies.
Okay.
So imagine using these massive 3D printers
Oh, wow.
to create building components,
Okay.
customized to specific designs.
Right.
And robots working alongside humans
Okay.
can assemble these components.
With incredible speed.
Exactly.
But where do the humans fit in then?
Right. It's not about replacing humans.
Okay.
It's about this hybrid workforce
Okay.
where humans and robots work together.
So they each bring their strengths to the table.
Exactly.
Humans have creativity,
Problem solving.
adaptability.
And robots are good at those repetitive tasks.
Mm.
The precision, the heavy lifting.
So it's really about job transformation,
it is.
not job displacement.
Exactly. Workers will need new skills
Right.
to operate this machinery,
Here.
analyze the data.
Work alongside these robots.
Exactly.
What are some challenges that we should be thinking about?
Well, cybersecurity is a big one.
Okay.
As construction sites become more interconnected,
Right, more data.
more reliant on data,
Yeah.
they're vulnerable to cyber attacks.
Okay.
So we need to make sure that all these smart systems
Right.
are protected.
So it's not just about building smart, it's about building secure.
Exactly. What else? Well, we need clear regulations and standards as
Okay.
these new technologies emerge.
Right.
We need guidelines,
Gotcha.
frameworks to make sure they're being used safely and responsibly.
And ethically.
And ethically, exactly.
Right.
You know, we have to think about data privacy,
Yeah.
ethical use of AI, the environmental impact of all this.
So are there ways to make sure all these systems can talk to each other?
Yes, that's a great point. We need interoperability.
Okay.
You know, we need to make sure that these different systems and platforms can
Yeah.
communicate
Yeah.
seamlessly.
So all the pieces of the puzzle fit together.
Exactly.
So it sounds like it's not just about individual companies.
Right.
It's about the whole industry working together.
It's about the entire construction ecosystem
Yeah.
coming together.
What about the workforce of the future?
Well, that's another big challenge. We need to make sure that we're developing the workforce,
Okay.
equipping them with the skills they need
Right.
to thrive in this new world.
So training and education are going to be key.
Absolutely. It's an investment in the future.
So where do you see construction going? Well, I think we're going to see buildings that are more than just static structures.
Okay.
There'll be dynamic, responsive environments
Okay.
that adapt to the people and the world around them.
Give me an example.
Sure, imagine a building that can adjust its energy usage
Okay.
based on the weather,
Interesting.
or structures that monitor their own integrity
Okay.
and can alert engineers if there's a problem.
So it's like the buildings are getting smarter too,
Exactly, they're becoming active participants.
not just passive structures.
Right.
So we're also going to see more sustainable buildings
Absolutely, a greater emphasis on sustainability,
using renewable energy.
green building materials,
Right.
and making them resilient to climate change.
This has been really fascinating.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time.
I feel like we're on the edge of a major shift
We are.
in how we design and build.
And interact with the spaces around us.
So the future is full of possibilities.
It is, and it's a future that we can all help shape.
That's a great point. The future is not something that just happens to us.
We create it
We create it
through innovation
through collaboration.
and a commitment to building a better world.
That's a great way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So that is our deep dive into smart construction.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening, everyone.